Testing, 1, 2, 3.
There. John, Larry. Yeah, Larry. Really? Deal with that. Oh, yeah.
Jamila, thanks for your extra help in setting up the meeting previous.
Hi, Dale. Our first item is at 1:15. I wasn't sure if you wanted to do roll call or anything like that first, or if you were happy to do it at 1:15.
Nope, we can call roll call. Tom, are you there? I think he's away, is he not?
Yeah.
Bob?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Dave?
Sorry, I think my audio isn't working. Just bear with me.
Are you okay, Jamila?
Go through the. Oh, did you? You okay now?
Yes, I'm good now. Thank you. And oh, I seem to have lost Dale.
Dale, come out, wherever you are.
There you up, Dale? Here?
Okay. I don't know why I keep losing the screen. That's the second time today.
I'll tell you.
Be polite now. Jamila, are you back on? Okay. Okay.
Yes, I can
so
hear
I
everybody
think,
now.
Okay. So Bob was here. Mark's here. Dave, are you on? Not yet. Mel?
Here.
Laverne?
Here.
Nancy?
I'm here.
Margaret?
Here.
And myself, Dale. So just log on the time when Dave checks in.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at 1:14, so not quite ready. Are there any members with a conflict of interest on any applications today?
No, sir.
Okay, we don't see any. The time clock hits 1:15. Jamila can call the first application.
Do.
Are you gonna sing?
No,
Like me.
I'm pretty sure I get shot down, you know, that door, the hook.
I sing solo, Nancy, so low you can't hear me.
Funny.
All right, we're all set for our first item. We are hearing SCA 2277 for 46 to 48 Durham Road in Stoney Creek. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as Councillor Pearson, and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
I'm here.
Yeah, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, does the councillor wish to speak?
I'm very supportive, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Move it.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none. Motion carried, application approved.
Great, thank you.
Jamila, I noticed that the next application is until 1:25, 10 minutes between instead of just 5 minutes.
Yes, likely something was tabled or withdrawn prior to it being circulated. So we usually try and schedule them 5 minutes apart, but sometimes we don't know that something's getting pulled until we've already done all of the other timelines for everything else.
I wonder if at times, I know we have a break scheduled usually partway through the day, but I'm wondering if at some point before the break, if we do that and add 10 minutes to an application well into the hearing, just in case we are running behind.
Yeah, you kind of like 2 breaks almost.
Well, yeah, not really. I mean, you can't do much in 5 minutes, but you know, if we run behind, at least we've got that extra 5 minutes to play with partway through the day.
Okay, we can look at that and see if we can do that.
Okay, we can discuss that at a later date, maybe.
All right, we are all set for the next item. We are hearing HMA 21-328 for 525 and 526 Upper James Street in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as several interested parties.
Before we begin, can we just change that so it reads right? It's 524, 526.
That's what
right.
I thought it was, and I was like, oh, maybe I made a typo in my notes about it. But okay, yes, thank you.
Okay. Is the agent available?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yeah, I did.
And do you have any questions?
No, no issues.
Okay. Maybe we could hear from the interested parties.
Yeah, so we will hear from Rebecca Mills first.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to speak. I will keep it brief. I also registered to speak at the previous meeting when this application was brought forward on October 7th, 2021, but it was withdrawn at that point and I didn't get an opportunity to speak, although I did submit comments via email and I also submitted comments via email to this amended application. So my question is, on the previous application, variance number 8 addressed the fact that there weren't going to be enough parking spots according to the zoning bylaw. A max, they were going to put in 6 parking spaces instead of the required 8, although I think there should be 9. But on this application, there is no variance for parking. And I'm just wondering what happened. I haven't been able to figure out, is that just a discrepancy? Was it left off by mistake? Was there some deal made behind closed doors that the residents of this neighborhood don't know about? Because I checked with the zoning office and asked if the parking requirements had changed, and as far as I can tell, they haven't. So I'm concerned there aren't enough parking spaces, and you can read my lengthy letter where I've explained to you that our neighborhood is already under intense parking pressure. So I think any new development that goes in, and I welcome this development. I'm not anti-development at all. I think it's a good lot to be developed, and I'm just concerned that the developers need to include the minimum number of parking spots, and it's not even addressed in this latest application. So I'd like maybe the agent or the committee or both to address why that seems to be missing. Thank you.
Okay, to the agent, I guess, is the question on parking. I know it's not in front of us today as a minor variance, so I suspect that it meets whatever the standards are, but if you care to comment.
Yeah, I can answer that. So in our original minor variance application, which was deferred, there was a miscalculation in terms of how we calculated parking. So we didn't realize that visitor parking was included in the total parking count. So we thought that we needed more parking than what was actually required. So we went through the site plan process and we received extensive comments from staff and they confirmed that we do meet the zoning requirements for parking. So the way it's calculated is that it's 1.25 spaces per unit, and there's 6 units. So that brings you to a total of 7.5. We just rounded that up to 8. And then the visitor parking, the way it works is that it's 0.25 spaces per unit, which brings you to a total of 2. However, what we didn't realize in our first submission is that those 2 spaces are included in the total of 8. So it's not in addition to the 8. So what we did is we delineated on our site plan where those 2 visitor parking spaces would be. And that was a request made by staff for the site plan process. So I understand why that may have been confusing to you, because we are still coming with the same amount of units and parking spaces. But this time we aren't requesting that zoning or variance because it's not actually required.
May I ask a follow-up question quickly, please?
Yep.
So
Go
I just want to be clear, are there going to be 8 spots or are there going to be 6 spots? Because it sounds like you need to have 8, but I only see 6 on the plan. Am I misreading that?
Yeah, so I prepared a presentation. I don't know if the committee wants me to go through it. Am I able to present the presentation?
Well,
Do we need it?
I mean,
Okay, I can answer this question directly. Is it okay if I share screen to show the site plan?
sure, go ahead. It's just that minor variance isn't in front of us really today.
Yeah, I just want to show her the parking spaces on the site plan. I'm not able to share it.
Okay.
Perhaps you can, oh, there you go. Just bear with me here. Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 1 second here. Site plan. Okay, so there's the building has 3 stories. The first story is just the lobby. And then the second and third stories include 3 residential units each. So the second and third stories of the building, the reason why you have a different shading is because it's cantilevered on top of the drive aisle. And then you have 3 parking spaces in addition to 5 in the rear. That brings you to a total of 8. So maybe perhaps you thought that the building encompassed the entire gray area, but it's actually cantilevered over 3 parking spaces. So I understand why that may have been confusing.
So you have 8 total.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions, Rebecca?
No, that was my primary question and it was answered. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Next citizen?
Yep. So we will now hear from Jennifer Blunt.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. My father and I, we live in the bungalow adjacent to the western boundary of the property. So our backyard borders on the parking area. And in my written comments, I submitted my concerns about the impact of a 3-story building, which I understand is allowed by the zoning restrictions, the 3 stories. But I'm concerned about the sort of lack of attention to privacy concerns and the height of the elevation dwarfing our neighborhood, which the committee brought up back on October 7th, asking for the elevation drawings to be revised. And with the new site plan, it doesn't seem like anything was revised. So I'm just wondering how that decision was made to approve the 3 stories and considering it coherent with a historical neighborhood such as ours.
Okay. Yeah, I can answer your question. So with respect to the height, the 3 stories, as you said, the 3 stories is permitted in addition to, I believe it's 11 meters building height. Yeah, 3 stories, 11 meters. So we fall within those parameters. And the way they calculate height based on the old zoning bylaw is that it doesn't include the parapet at the top. So that's why in the elevation drawings, you'll see that it actually goes up to something like 13 meters. But in our site plan review meeting with staff, they confirmed that it only goes up to the top of the roof and that the parapet is excluded. So they were fine with that. Then we're not, you said you're to the west, correct?
Yes.
So we're not requesting a variance for the rear yard setback. So we conform with that. And then with respect to your comment about compatibility with the neighborhood, it's not I understand that it's within an established neighborhood, and it has the official plan refers it to as I believe it's called the Southampton. What's it called exactly? Historical neighborhood, but that's not actually a heritage conservation district. And then when looking at the surrounding area, within close proximity to the subject property, there are no listed or designated buildings. And then just south of the subject property, you have the commercial district along Upper James Street, which is experiencing lots of redevelopment with potential for new modern architectural styles. So just because you're proposing a modern architectural style in a historic neighborhood, it doesn't mean that it's out of character for the neighborhood. You can have modern architecture that complements older architectural styles. And then not to mention that since we're not going beyond, we're not requesting a variance to increase the height, and we believe that the massing is relatively compatible with the surrounding community context. We don't believe that the proposal is out of context with the street. There's all sorts of different type of uses found along the street. Like, for example, directly to the south of us, you have a commercial building versus to the north, it's pure residential. So I don't think that just because it's within a historical neighborhood that we should be against new modern development, if that makes sense. But I appreciate your comment.
I guess my concern is the effect on the single unit dwellings to the west and the height discrepancy. It's going to tower over our home, and we're going to lose pretty much any sense of privacy that we have right now. And the fencing that's proposed is 1.2 meters, which I believe is the minimum height.
Yeah.
There's an existing 2-meter fence, and I just wondered if you would reconsider putting in a higher fence, and also what plantings are going to be put in place to help with the privacy issue. Again, this is mostly to the west and to the northwest. Like, I understand the building is compatible with Upper James. It's just the neighborhood behind, which is where most of the activity in the building will be. I mean, the parking is back there. There's going to be large picture windows that will look right down on us. Balconies in the rear aren't enclosed. And these are sort of the things I thought the committee had addressed in their question on October 7th for the elevations to be revised. So I guess I'm kind of asking about privacy, but also asking how the committee came to a decision that this is compatible with our neighborhood when back in October, it wasn't compatible.
So just for clarification, the committee has not made a decision. That is why we are here today, is so that the committee can make a decision. At the previous hearing, the committee asked the applicant to go back and review their application with staff, and that is what the applicant has done.
If I can add to a number of the issues that you've raised today are of concern to us as well as the city, and they will be addressed through the site plan approval process, which we have to go through. In your comments about the 2-meter versus 1.2 meter fencing, we would be happy to entertain that as long as it's within the parameters of the city's bylaw. So we can go back and address that as well. So a lot of these issues that you're talking about are still in the process through the site plan approval process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Okay. Next.
Sorry, and that's all the interested parties. Thank you.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions?
No, move it.
No,
I believe I have Mel. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I was there to look at the spot there, and there was no sign up in the building to either one of the houses that were there. Was there a sign up, or where did it go?
So yes, we did put up a public notice sign.
Yes.
Yeah, so I do have a photo of the public notice sign, and I did send it off by email to Committee of Adjustment. What ended up happening is that we didn't receive, we were waiting for the notice sign to come into the mail, and we were wondering why it was taking so long. So we went ahead and printed it out ourselves and put it up on the property. But we do have a photo, and it was sent to the Committee of Adjustment email.
So the
I didn't see it up
discrepancies-
on the property when I was there the other day. That's why I was just asking that whether there's one up there or what's going on there.
You're correct. The difference was it wasn't in yellow paper; it was in the white paper on the property. But again, it was a delay in mail as opposed to anything else. And we just want to make sure that we met the deadline, so a sign was placed on the property, and the staff can provide a picture of that if you need it. Thank you very much.
Okay. No, I just wondered. I didn't see the proper signing there. So. Okay.
Okay, Nancy, you made a motion?
I did. Sorry, I was out of order. But I
That's
did,
okay.
and do.
Is there a seconder? Someone?
Hello?
Second, Mark Todd, seconded.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed?
Sorry, I have one opposed. Mel, I couldn't see you voting.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were in favor or opposed?
No, I'm okay with it right now.
Okay.
Okay. Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, everyone.
Right, and we are all set for our next files. So we are hearing HMB 2218 and HMB 2219. They are for 370 Concession Street in Hamilton. We have the agents registered to speak and no interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Good afternoon, members of the committee. Matt Johnston with Urban Solutions. Pleased to be here on behalf of Effort Trust. We have no questions or concerns with the staff report. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, committee, any questions?
Move it.
I have Margaret with a question.
Just a little clarification. There's talk about parking for the townhouse units. And where is the parking for the townhouse units? Is it in front of each unit?
Through the chair, that's correct. So these severances implement a zoning bylaw amendment approval that were granted by Hamilton City Council very recently. And getting some feedback. In doing so, we have 2 spaces per unit, one in the garage, one in the driveway.
Okay.
And we're in full conformity with the zoning bylaw. So there's no concerns with a lack of parking.
So the only parking rearrangement was for the existing apartment building itself was going to be moved. Okay.
That's right. So the parking arrangement for the existing building, there will be an adjustment to that parking, but that's all been site plan approved. And like I said, we're now implementing that site plan approval as well as the zoning approval through these 2 severance applications.
Thanks.
Any further questions?
Mark had a motion, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Move it.
Mark moved it, Mel second. All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
I lived in that building once upon a time. Long time ago.
That's why they have to do something with it, Nancy.
It's old.
All right. We're all set for our next file. So we're hearing GLA 2279 for 9255 Airport Road in Glanbrook. We have the agents and owners registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
I am.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
We have, and I'm very happy with the staff report. I would like to add that it appears that one lot out of the long list of lots has been dropped somehow. And I'm not sure whether this is actually something that my office has done or somehow it's been lost in communication with staff. But under variance 1, I would like to add lot 188 to that list. These variances are to deal with an approved plan of subdivision where the grading has necessitated having stairs at the backs of units at the rear doors. In order to do this properly, we have added decks to the back of those units in order to be able to facilitate safe use of the stairs. So this is, just as I said, just a result of the grading.
Pardon? I'm in a meeting.
Okay, so I don't think there is an issue with adding the additional lot of 188, is there, Jamila?
It'll just, when whoever makes the motion, they'll just need to make a motion as amended with the additional lot.
Okay. Does the committee have any questions?
Move it with the amended.
Seconder?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Right, and we are all set for our next file. We are hearing HMA 21388 for 131 Winchester Boulevard in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak, as well as Councillor Jackson and several interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am. It's Ken Beekendam from King Homes, Inc.
Okay, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, we did. So this application was actually brought forward back before Christmas in November. We did decide to table the application at the time to respond to some of the concerns from the residents. We did set up a neighborhood meeting with the help of Councillor Jackson. That meeting did take place. We met with Tom Jackson, myself, and the owner to talk about some of the concerns. And then the Councillor Jackson, the owner, and the neighbors also met to discuss their concerns. So we have brought forward the application again. It is somewhat revised. So some of the concerns that were brought forward had to do with privacy. Because our last application, we did have a 2-story secondary dwelling unit detached structure proposed. We have since dropped that down to only a single story. And we're going to be adding a basement to the unit so that we can try and ease some of the concerns about privacy as far as the unit itself. The location of the unit is actually directly behind the principal building. So, so it is very much blocked even from the street view, as it's tucked nicely in behind. We can fit the required parking spaces within the existing driveway. You'll see on the site plan that we've shown 2 parallel parking spaces. And then another space towards the back. In order to meet this parking arrangement, we are requesting a variance to the driveway access aisle width. And we're asking for a reduction to 3.3 meters, okay? Whereas we require 3.7 according to the bylaw. One of the other variances that we're requesting is the unobstructed pathway. So right now, the unobstructed pathway, we do have a fence. We did remove the gate so that there's no longer a gate that's blocking the pathway. But there's a fence there as well for privacy for the tenant that would be in that unit. The other variance is a principal building setback. So right now we're asking for a principal building setback reduction to 4.15 meters, whereas the bylaw requires 7.5. So we feel that this only directly impacts the owner of the property, having the building a little bit closer to the principal building than what the bylaw allows. So we have seen the comments that have come in. We've seen the emails that have come in. We respect the concerns of the neighborhood and the residents. We feel that our variances that we're asking for are quite minor in nature, especially as we can fit the required parking spaces. Our conversation with Councillor Jackson on site, he himself said that parking was not a concern here at this site. Parking is not a concern at this site. The driveway is quite large, and we're not even having to pave over, existing front yard, the landscape area. We can maintain what we have. That's the application. That's what we're here today to discuss. I understand that density is a concern for the committee members. I just want to remind the committee that this is approved by the province. This is approved by City Council, by Planning Committee, that we are allowed these SDUs on these lots. The infrastructure can handle the additional usage for wastewater and water. So those discussion points aren't necessarily applicable to this discussion because 3 units is allowed on one lot. And so, like I said, we believe that it's very minor in nature. At this point, I'd like to pass it on to the owner of the property, Michael, who I believe is wanting to also speak to his application. Thank you very much.
Michael, are you there?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, like Chen said, we met with the community on 2 occasions, and the second time that we met with them, they voiced their concerns, and we tried to address them as best that we could. I understand the community is opposed to it from the comments. We tried our best to make it as less impactful for them, and we will continue to do so. To speak to some of the mails that were sent in, there was garbage on the front lawn of somebody's email, and we had just put new tenants in there, and they didn't understand the garbage removal process, and so they put more garbage out there than they could have. So once I was aware of that, we made sure that everything was removed. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I guess there's a list. Well, we'll hear from Councillor Jackson first, please.
Chairman Smith, respectfully, could we allow the community voices to go first, since they're volunteers and joining for the first time probably, and then I could go last, please? Thank you.
Sure. Camille, okay. First citizen.
Certainly. So we will hear from Dia Bishop first. So if Dia Bishop is on the...
Sorry, I am here. I did not have comments I was ready to make in front of the assembly today. I believe some of my neighbors have had more time to fully flesh out and voice their opinions on this.
Okay, thank you.
So we will now hear from Debbie Cunningham.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I think we are the last original owner on Winchester Boulevard. My parents still live there, 94 and 93. I'm going to get emotional. We have seen so many changes on that street, and it's not for the good. In the last 4 years, there have been 20 plus sales on Winchester Boulevard, and all but one has been turned into multifamily. I think Winchester has done their bit. And no disrespect to the investor that's bought the property, but in today's day and age, we all know what you paid for it. We all know the rent you're getting for it. You're making your money on that property. Exactly the other problem is this problem. We have seen lawns not being cut. We have seen snow not being shoveled. We have seen recycle bins out from week to week, never being picked up. It's like, it's our vote is no. I know my parents won't be, but it's everywhere on that street, everywhere. And what happened to the 12-hour rule? Nobody gets ticketed. If a kid or my parents walked out between two parked cars on that street, they would get run over. Like, enough. Like, I know we've got a rental problem in Hamilton and we're all willing to help, but we don't need another building in the backyard. It's got nothing to do with setbacks. It's about the neighborhood. Not one person that spoke before me has mentioned the people that live in that neighborhood and have lived in that neighborhood almost their whole lives. I'm finished.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. And we will now hear from Eileen Haynes. Hayes. I'm sorry. Let's see. So I believe they have called in. So if you have called in, you'll just need to unmute yourself. So I believe it's either *6 or *9 to unmute yourself.
Hi, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairperson and members of the committee. As you know, I am Eileen Hines. I live at 19 Winchester Boulevard. I am here in opposition to the application for zoning bylaw changes to 131 Winchester. I submitted a petition on behalf of the neighboring community of Fernwood Park and neighbors adjacent to the property in question. So thank you for allowing me to speak on their behalf. We feel that if the city was to allow this variance to pass, then what does that say about our zoning bylaws? We respect that the city has invested a great deal of time and effort to formulate and implement the bylaws. But then why are they subject to be possibly altered so radically as to allow this type of development to occur, which does not respect the integrity and livability of our neighborhood? This is not an application for a backyard shed to move a foot closer to a fence. This is a large structure, which, if it requires so much space as to make a variance to the bylaw necessary, then the purpose of the variance is inappropriate for this backyard. We all understood and stand the housing has become a serious issue for our city. But this is not merely a not in my neighborhood response to this application. The zoning bylaw should serve a guide to say that this development is not appropriate for this type of space. The variance is too large for the reason, and we respectfully ask that you deny it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we will now hear from Claude Jarvis.
Good afternoon, committee members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this afternoon regarding this minor variance application. I strongly oppose this application, and that is not minor in nature, but major. The request for an allowance of 4.1 meters from the rear of the primary residence to the detached secondary dwelling unit, as opposed to the site 7.5 meters as required under the existing bylaw, is significant. Each SDU is required to have an amenity area, not a communal amenity area, its own amenity area. And in this particular case, 12 square meters. It's 400 square feet for the main floor and 400 square feet for the basement. The accessibility to one of the parking spots may be obstructed by another vehicle. Again, violation of this current bylaw. Bylaws exist to give each and every municipality structure. They define the primary characteristics and how it functions. Bylaws enable members to determine what rules they can all agree on and abide by. These bylaws ensure stability, continuity, and structure, especially in times of this rapid growth. The Planning Act provides the basis for considering provincial interests through provincial policy and growth, preparing official plans and planning policies that will guide future development and regulating and controlling land uses through zoning bylaws and minor variances. Municipalities still determine appropriate regulations for additional residential units. The Planning Act mandated every municipality in Ontario to come up with a plan, which the city has. Ontario Municipal Affairs gives the authority to each and every Committee of Adjustment member to grant or deny minor variances based on the bylaws and regulations in a municipality. The Planning Act was designed for gentle intensification, kind, respectful, considerate intensification. Sorry, excuse me, the plan was an over-intensification, not over-intensification, aggressive, disrespectful, inconsiderate intensification, which I believe in this particular case will be over-intensification. Municipal affairs in Toronto agree, and the city of Barrie and the impact to the community owners, especially allowing them to allow this detached secondary dwelling units in their backyard. They went to the municipal affairs, and municipal affairs told them that each municipality has bylaws. They can amend their bylaws to accommodate detached secondary dwelling units. And as of today, the city of Barrie has amended their bylaws, not only 7.5 meters from the rear of the primary residence, but 7.5 meters from the rear of the lot line. As we sit here today, numerous municipalities are amending their SDUs bylaws, specifically detached SDUs. But we have to deal with the rules that are in place today. This committee and all of us are aware of the need for affordable housing, and majority of us, and all of you committee members, I know you do, support SDUs, and the majority of us, we support SDUs. As seen at the March 17th Committee of Adjusted meeting regarding 38 Randall Boulevard, all of you agreed that over-intensification was not the intent of this bylaw. To allow 3 families on such a small parcel of land was not the answer. Imagine if the applicants, abutting neighbors, were all allowed to do the same. You would have 18 families on 150 by 200 foot lot. This was not the intent of the Planning Act. Please deny this application. And as mentioned back in the March 17th, I believe it was you, committee member Bob Charters, mentioned that he is you have a 200 foot lot, and you don't believe that the city of Hamilton would allow you to put 12 families on it. If this is this particular case, you're talking 18 families potentially on this 150 by 200 foot lot, and that is not the intent that the Municipal Affairs implemented or the Planning Act. And hopefully you deny the application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we will hear from Maria McDonough next.
Hi, I'm
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've lived on Ashland now for 30 years, and I have renters on both sides to me. On the left, I've been lucky enough that the two different families that have lived in there have been great. But to my right, the owner lives in Toronto. He rents to students. They don't take care of the property. It's a mess. There's garbage, the weeds, the grass, the snow, so many different things that have gone wrong. I also feel that if either side were allowed to build, as this gentleman wants to build, in the backyard, would take away from the character of the neighborhood, my privacy, and again, just overcrowding and parking spaces alone. The people before me have stressed the same opinions that I believe in, and they've done great research. And I'm hoping the committee will deny this because it will take away from this beautiful neighborhood. And as the gentleman said, the last gentleman, if you allow this, then every single house on Ashland, Winchester, could end up with buildings in their backyard. And I'm sorry, that's not acceptable. And you're taking away from the beautiful area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from Ian and Carol Moot next. Moat.
Hi there. Thanks for letting me speak. I can't say anything else other than, yeah, I agree with all the sentiments so far. Definitely, Debbie, your emotions are felt by most of the people in this neighborhood, I feel. I can't speak any better than Eileen and Claude and Maria have. Totally true. The character of this neighborhood has changed in the 15 years since I've lived here. I've been lucky enough to move back to Canada after serving the armed forces and being a war veteran. I wanted to be surrounded by house owners. I wanted to be in a quiet, peaceful neighborhood. And this neighborhood is changing over the past 15 years to a maximum amount that I can't tolerate anymore. These backyard dwelling units, once you allow one in, you are going to be allowing hundreds into this neighborhood. All of the problems that we've already spoken about, parking, the over-intensification, there is no gentle intensification in this. The only benefit I see to this is that a numbered Ontario company will be making more profit, and that's it. And once the others owners see that there is more profits to be made, they'll be right on top of that as well. So I can't really add anything more than what's already been said here. It's really nice to see my neighbors. You've probably seen me in the neighborhood. We're the ones who volunteer with training the dogs for the blind. So you've probably seen me and my dogs with the green jackets on. So I want to say hi to all my neighbors and thanks for coming out. And respectfully, I'm asking that you deny this. Thanks very much for letting me try.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Jamila, do we have quite a few more?
So I believe we just have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we have Aldo Gattani.
Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. Yeah, everyone has said their concerns, and I agree with them 100%. It should not be allowed. The other concern I like to also say is that intensification is happening in our area. New Horizon is going to be developing a humongous place or a humongous zone at Fennel and Sherman. There's also another one at King and Rosedale, and Valerie, I believe, is at Lawrence and Cochrane. So there will be massive intensification in this area. Okay, we do not need any more. Like I've said, other people have said, is that once you allow one, I'm sure there'll be 10 right after this meeting allowed. And that's unacceptable. The bylaws are put in place so that everyone could follow them. and not just change them on a whim for individuals. No disrespect to the individuals who are seeking these variances. You know, I'm sure they do things properly, their own way of doing things, but we are living here in this area. Okay, this secondary unit law in Ontario is designed for families. Okay, right now, if you go onto the Airbnb website, it's being rented out, and it's not about any type of families. It's about a business, and that is my main concern. So we have people coming and going constantly. There's already been one issue for noises at 1 to 2:30 in the morning that another neighbor had to actually stop it. And that's my concern. Right now, there's a duplex at 131, which is great, okay? All within bylaws, no variance required. However, with the secondary unit, being 800 square feet, because 400 upstairs and 400 downstairs, it's not hard for it to be changed afterwards into another duplex, with or without bylaws. And that's my major concern. Thank you for your time, and hopefully we will stop this. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Councillor.
Thank you, Chairman Smith and members of committee. I won't take too much time. I just want to start off by saying what Mr. Beckendam and Mr. Safantas, the owners, said about the opportunity to meet. They were true to their word during the tabled period of the last few months. And I got to meet both of them, and Mr. Safantas also at a second meeting at Fernwood Park with about 25 residents as well. And whatever I'm going to say next has absolutely nothing personal to do with these two gentlemen whatsoever. They've been professional throughout, and they've given my community the opportunity over the last 4 or 5 months to at least be engaged. Very quickly, Mr. Chairman, members of committee, I'm strongly opposed to this application for 3 reasons, and then I want to make a personal comment about your committee, Mr. Chairman. Number 1, the setback variance, especially the new application, revised application. It's under item 2. I think it was originally the item 1 back in November. The setback variance, in my opinion, is not appropriate and too severe, and not minor in my humble opinion. Secondly, community voices, again, have spoken loudly. It takes a lot for citizens, everyday citizens, to appear before a committee of council, such as this, which you are appointed by council. For them to appear, it takes a lot for them to be prepared. Many of them speaking for the first time, and I must commend Aileen Hines, who was one of the delegates, in garnering over 70 names on her petition from concerned residents as well that wished for this application to be denied. Thirdly, again, going from 1 unit to 3 on the same property that traditionally was a single family home for decades, in my humble opinion, is over intensification, and who knows, the 3 may even lead to more. And in my humble opinion, that's way over intense for this property, and overall altering the character of the neighborhood. And only because Mr. Beckendam mentioned about council and the province have approved this, every member of this committee knows I was recorded as opposed to the detached secondary dwelling unit bylaw last year. I only say that so you all, refreshing your memory if needed, that I'm coming at this honestly as a particular ward councillor, that I did vote against the detached secondary dwelling unit bylaw. My last personal comment, Mr. Chairman, to your committee, I know there's been recently a couple of publications about some perception of Committee of Adjustment in some quarters of our city just denying SDU applications. General Manager of Planning and Economic Development, Jason Thorne, recently sent me, since the SDU bylaw was approved, he sent me a factual sheet saying that roughly you've had about 51 applications. Your committee's approved 47 of them. I only share that to dispel the misleading false notion that you're just denying these. Just the opposite is true. But where I hope community voices have spoken loudly, where the setback is too severe and over intensification is potentially going to occur, that you would take that into serious account, and along with myself as the representative. Chairman Smith, members of committee, thank you so much. I'm strongly opposed to this application. Thanks for the time.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Turn to the committee. Questions to the agent?
I have Laverne questions.
First of all, I'd like to start by saying I am not opposed to SUVs, secondary dwelling units, pardon me. However, when I went to have a look at this thing, there was a couple came out of the basement of that house, and I thought they were probably people that were renting there. And so I pulled into the driveway. They were standing outside having a smoke. And I said to them, do you rent the basement? And she said to me, no, we don't rent it. This is an Airbnb. We're just staying here for a day or two. Oh, okay. I said, oh, and then he said to me, he asked me what my concerns were and why I was there. So I briefly told him that I was on the Committee of Adjustment, and I was simply gathering information because we had a meeting today and I wanted to relate that information at the meeting. He looked at me with a rather cross look on his face, walked away, opened the door, walked into the basement. She slammed the door in my face, and away they went. So today I gathered some information on secondary dwelling units. And it says on a secondary dwelling unit that it has to be 7.5 meters from the principal dwelling. This one is 4.1. In my mind, that is not a minor variance. We're almost cutting this thing in half. So I will not support any SUVs that are less than 7.5 meters. And when the time comes, as I said, I support SUV, secondary dwelling units. However, keep one thing in mind, I will not support any dwelling units that are less than 7.5 meters, and I'll make the motion to deny it. Thank you.
Thank you. I will hold that motion till later. I'm sure there are other committee members that wish to comment.
Can I comment on the Airbnb situation?
No, we are hearing questions from the committee members at the moment.
Are there any further questions from committee members?
Seeing none, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the owner wishes to comment.
Yeah, sorry. I rented the, I don't do Airbnb. I rented Chester is going to be bringing his family from British Columbia. They wanted to secure the property because they liked it. So in the meantime, until his family comes, he's Airbnb-ing the basement. I spoke with him after I seen the comments, and that's what he told me. So I'm personally not Airbnb-ing it. The tenant who is renting it from me is, and it is just until his family comes from British Columbia.
Yes, we have gathered some information that short-term rentals at present are allowed. So if that falls into the criteria of Airbnb, then at present, I believe that it's allowable, classified as a short-term rental for the time being. Are there any more comments? Any questions?
I'll second the motion for Laverne, since that's on the table.
Okay, motion was made for denial, seconded by Nancy. All in favor of denial of the application? Opposed?
Here.
Sorry, could those members with opposed just raise their hands again? I wasn't able to quite get everybody. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have 3 opposed.
Is that, sorry, the motion is opposed for denial, right?
Yes, that is correct. Laverne made the motion to deny the application, all variances that were requested, and Nancy seconded it. So the motion is to deny the variances requested.
Okay, and our count for and against?
Sorry, David, are you not opposed to the motion anymore?
No, I'm supporting denial.
Okay, so you are not opposed to the motion.
I will call the vote again. All in favor?
Thank you.
Of denial?
All in favor of denial. Okay, thank you.
Opposed to denial?
Okay, thank you. So I have 2 opposed.
2 opposed. Motion is carried. Application is denied.
Thank you, Chairman Smith and members of committee. Thank you.
Yes, just for the information's sake, there is an appeal period that that is allowed, and so the neighbors that are concerned, the agent or owner could appeal our decision, and so it could be sent to the land tribunal. And I think you will be notified of that. Is that not true, Jamila?
Yeah, so so if an appeal is filed, all those who registered to speak and those who provided comments, their information will be sent to the Ontario Land Tribunal with the complete package if an appeal is filed.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, committee. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and we are all set for the next file. We are hearing ANA 2280 for 192 Gulf Links Road in Ancaster. We have the owners registered to speak and no other interested parties. Or, oh, sorry, actually there is one interested party. I apologize. That was my mistake.
Okay, is the owner available?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did.
And do you have any questions?
No, sir.
There was one citizen?
Yes, we have Tom Saponek registered to speak.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I registered because I thought I had to simply to attend the meeting live. I do not have an objection to the plan as published.
Okay.
Thank you.
Committee have any questions?
Move it.
Okay, Laverne, then Nancy, I believe.
Yep.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And we're all set for the next file. We're hearing HMA 2211 for 77 West 4th Street in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
And do you have any questions?
No questions, but I have a short 5-minute presentation, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, can I share my screen?
Yep.
Great, thank you very much. Good afternoon, members of committee. My name is Andy Tran from Sweet Editions, and I'm the agent and house designer for the applicants, Ramal and Poonam Taylor, the owners of 77 West 4th Street. This is for a secondary dwelling unit detached. It is a second SDU, meaning the proposal is to have 3 units in total on the property.
Our file has been recirculated as a result of being tabled from our minor variance hearing from back in February. We have since had lengthy discussions with planning staff, and happy to say that we have reduced the variance request from 4 minor variances to 2. After our discussions, planning staff was in support of the proposal. The subject lands is a detached single-family property in C-zone with a lot size of roughly 540 square meters. It is on the west side of Hamilton Mountain. Here's an image of the facade of the existing property. Here's a recent image of the completed renovation of the interior space currently being rented. This is an example of the owner's quality of work to ensure an ideal housing unit for their occupants. Here's an image from the corner of the street showing the rear yard where the proposed secondary dwelling unit detached will be. There's an existing older garage that will be removed. So here's the site plan with the proposed detached SDU. You can see the green square on the right side as the 65 square meter footprint of the additional unit. Again, just to be clear, the existing house has a unit on the main level and a legal SDU in the basement. I understand previously there were concerns about transparency of the number of units, and we'll want to make it clear that the intention is to have 3 units in total. The current property is being rented to 2 separate tenants, and there are no issues at all. Here's a rendering of the detached SDU with a fence screening from the existing property. The intention of the house style is to match similarly with the houses in the area. Here's looking at it from the south elevation. So that white sketch building on the left is the existing property. The white building to the right of that is the existing garage on the neighboring property in the back. So variance number 1 is to permit is to request a minimum distance of 6.1 meters between rear facade of principal dwelling and the SDU, whereas 7.5 meters is required. At the variance hearing in February, we had requested 5.4 meters. This was brought up as a concern from staff, and so the item was tabled. And in our subsequent meetings, we took the advice from staff to increase the separation. So we increased it to 6.1 meters with a smaller SDU, and staff was satisfied with this reduction. The other reason we're asking for this variance for the separation was so that the footprint of the house can remain as a single story. Unfortunately, without a slight reduction in that separation, roughly about 4 feet, it would have to be a 2-story structure, which would be more imposing on the site. Variance number 2 is to permit a slight encroachment into the required yard to a maximum of 0.55 meters, roughly 21 inches, whereas 0.45 meters is permitted, 17.7 inches. The reason for this variance is the roof truss system we typically use in our small house designs has a slightly greater protrusion of roughly an extra 4 inches. We don't believe that this will be a concern since we're still able to maintain 1.2 meter setback at the rear and side lots. So in conclusion, we believe that we're able to satisfy the 4 tests of the minor variance. The proposal is in line with the official plan of Hamilton and Bill 108 for detached accessory units as 3rd units. It is congruent with the intent of the revised zoning bylaw updated in May 2021 for detached SDUs and in line with Hamilton's densification goals. Number 3, it is appropriate for the neighborhood to have this type of well-built housing and gentle densification at a scale that does not change the character of the neighborhood. A home such as this will be slightly more affordable than owning or renting a standard home and will be a great addition to the community. And lastly, number 4, the variances requested are minor in nature. With that, I respectfully request the members of the committee to approve this minor variance application so that we can proceed with building a well-constructed home and slightly increased density for this neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. There was one citizen.
Yes, that's correct. We will now hear from Conrad Draus.
Hi there. My name is Conrad Draus. I'm a resident of Hamilton, as well as a local residential contractor. Since learning about Bill 108, I've been working on building a business primarily for the construction of quality SDUs, detached SDUs. Today, I would like to comment on two main points in the general support of detached SDUs in Hamilton. One is change. Change is inevitable, and there are two clear changes that we are facing here. One, the population will change with an increase of residents, and two, SDUs will be a beneficial change to our city. In the meeting on March 17th, committee member Bob Charters said, if we're going to have affordable housing, we have to be able to make some sacrifices. So in the case of SDUs, we need to let go of wanting Hamilton to remain the exact same way as it did 30 years ago. Hamilton's population is forecasted to grow just over 230,000 new residents by the next 30 years. Change is coming, and we need to respond to that, not react to that when it's too late. Point number two, construction and the fabric of our neighborhoods. Detached SDUs are not going to be flimsy garden sheds that ruin the look and feel of our city. In fact, they will be more structurally sound than the primary building sitting next to it and designed to blend into the neighborhood's look and feel. Building material and building practices have improved tremendously over the past 50 years. So these new builds will stand stronger and safer for generations to come. SDU builders will be required to be registered with HCRA and obtain a Terrion certification, a process that takes about 9 to 12 months to complete. That's a lot of time studying the code book and making sure contractors are knowledgeable, competent, and educated enough to build these SDUs to the highest standards. This ensures that these builds will not be poorly constructed. So please, let's get these minor adjustments approved and start the gentle intensification process that our city needs. Embrace the change. Change is good. Thank you. That is it.
Sorry, did you have specific comments for this file or just secondary dwelling units in general?
That's a general support for detached SDUs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, committee members, questions?
I have Nancy.
Just to be clear, in light of what I've heard on the previous file, I do in fact see this as a minor variance, and the fact that it's on a corner that gives us the flankage on a side corner lot to allow a not a semi-detached, don't get that wrong, a private isolated unit. I think that makes a difference in my mind. So I don't want to be categorized as supporting or not supporting all secondary dwelling units. But again, in this particular case, I don't see the seriousness of the others that we have looked at. So I would be supporting this if the motion is made.
I had Mel with questions or comments.
Yeah, I've visited the site. That means that garage is coming down. I believe it's fairly close to the house, if I'm not correct. Is that right? Very little distance between the house and the garage now?
Yeah, there's approximately, I would say 2 or 3 meters from the corner of the house to that garage.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. And it means you're coming in off the other street there. That makes a little bit of a difference. So I'm just quite because I know that Danko, Councillor Danko is against it. That's of the 6.1 instead of 7.5. So I just whether you're aware of that or not.
Yep, and we have David with a question or comment.
Yeah, as opposed to the last one, I really like this one. I love the location, and I like the fact that it's the blend of the neighborhood, the existing house. I think that's important to make it, all come together. So I'm willing to second the motion.
Okay, and we had a question or comment from Bob. Sorry, Bob, you're muted.
Hi, I'm prepared to move this for the reasons that have been brought forward by the previous speakers, and in particular, the fact that the distance on the buffer has been substantially reduced, and they've made adjustments to fit this in. I agree with the concept of it coming off the street, and actually with the actual entrance way from the road already there, it just seems like an ideal setting for that property. So I'll move that we approve it.
Okay. Was there any more questions before I accept that motion?
We had the...
Just a comment. Previously, I said that if we had any more applications for SDUs that were under 7.5 meters, I was not going to support them. However, I have to eat a little bit of crow here. If the pictures that we see are exactly what we're going to get, I do believe this one is a minor variance. I believe there's been a great deal of effort put into making some changes to put this SDU in place. So I'm in full support.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Nancy, yep, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think we had several motions on the floor, so I wasn't sure which one you wanted to take.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure. Nancy, you said you would support a motion. I didn't know whether you were actually making a motion there at this.
Oh, sorry, Nancy, you're muted.
There we go. No, Bob made the motion. I just stated that I was in support of the application, and I believe Dave just did the same. So there you go, Bob.
Okay, so Bob makes the motion, and I believe Dave said he would second that motion. Okay, all in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
And we are now hearing ANA 2288 for 31 Sexton Crescent in Ancaster. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, hello. Is the agent available?
I am, thank you. Brian Walker here.
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, thank you very much, yeah.
You have any questions?
No questions.
Committee?
Move it.
Laverne, then Nancy, all in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you so much, have a great day.
Brian's in his car.
Yes, I am. I'm here working.
Good for you.
Thank you, have a good day.
All right, and we are now on to files HMB 2221 and HMA 2293 for 15 Bartlett Avenue in Hamilton. We have the agents registered to speak as well as several interested parties.
Hey, is the agent available?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name is Glenn Wellings. I am the planning consultant for the applicant. And Mr. Chairman, I do have the applicant, Michael Chiravelli, also in attendance today.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a few comments. I will keep it brief, but given the level of public interest, I thought I'd provide a brief planning overview.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, committee members, the subject property is located at the foot of Bartlett Avenue, on the east side of Bartlett Avenue. And what's interesting about these lands is the lands on the west side of Bartlett Avenue and to the south of the cul-de-sac are actually zoned commercially. They're zoned C7. So there is a combination in this neighborhood of both commercial and residential zoning, which I found interesting from a planning perspective. The applications for consent and minor variances that are required are relatively straightforward, Mr. Chairman and committee members. The purpose of the consent application is to divide the subject property, which is slightly in excess of 2,000 square meters, into two equal parts. So a little over 1,000 square meters for the severed and retained parcels, respectively. The intent of the application is to build a replacement dwelling on the retained portion, which is the portion with the existing house, and which is at the 15 Bartlett Avenue address. And on the severed portion, the intent is to construct a new single detached dwelling. The variances before committee today are for a reduced front yard setback, reduced side yard setback, and reduced lot area. So, Mr. Chairman, committee members, just to put the proposed lots into perspective, each lot will have approximately 20 meters or 66 feet of frontage and a depth of 53 meters or 175 feet approximately. So the lot area variance that's before committee this afternoon is a variance from the 1,100 square meters to 1,000 square meters, a difference of 100 square meters. And Mr. Chairman, committee members, I would suggest this is a minor variance, and I would suggest that such a deviation would not even be noticeable. With respect to the front yard setback variance, the setback front yard setback variance accounts for the cul-de-sac bulb that would encroach into the subject property. The majority of the house, as you can see, Mr. Chairman and committee members, on the consent sketch, the majority of the house will achieve the minimum 12-meter front yard setback, but there are some pinch points where the cul-de-sac bulb encroaches into the property. And with respect to the side yard variance reduction request from 3 meters to 2.0 meters, that request, in my opinion, Mr. Chairman and committee members, is reasonable and consistent with today's standards for larger lots. We are dealing with a very old bylaw in this case, and in a 2-meter setback, side yard setback for a larger lot is reasonable and appropriate. Mr. Chairman and committee members, I've read the resident letters. I think the first thing that I was struck by was the distance some residents were from the subject property that had concerns. But setting that aside, there were a number of comments that these applications will result in incompatible and inappropriate development that is out of character with the neighborhood. And in my opinion, that's definitely not the case. It's not supported by the facts. This will be a large lot, very large lot by today's standards, and a lot that is consistent in size and character to the existing lots in the immediate area. In my opinion, Mr. Chairman and committee members, the 2 new homes on Bartlett Avenue will actually enhance the character and result in an overall improvement to the streetscape. This neighborhood is a bit tired, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I'm not saying that to be offensive, and I think this will be an enhancement to the character of this neighborhood. So my opinion, Mr. Chairman, my planning opinion is that the consent application conforms to the official plan, and the minor variances satisfy the 4 tests as set out in the Planning Act. And committee will note that city planning staff has done a very thorough review of the applications, and they similarly are in support of the applications from a planning perspective. Mr. Chairman, committee members, I'd respectfully ask that committee support the applications as presented, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have a list of citizens.
Sorry. So we will hear from Jay Lehman first. So if Jay Lehman is on the call, please unmute yourself and make yourself known. I do not currently see anyone with that name registered.
Okay, next.
Okay, we will hear from Jody Campavari. And I believe she may be calling in. So if you are calling in by phone, you'll just have to press *9 or *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, good. My name is Jody. I live at 3 Lister Avenue. I have lived here for approximately 40 years. I have listened to Mr. Wellings. I do not believe this conforms with our neighborhood. I have a piece of paper here from June 8, 1990. Our area was zoned a B zoning with the larger size lots. He was saying something about commercial. I don't really understand a lot of it. However, I do not believe that this application meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. I find it rather deceitful that what he's requesting is that to sever the property, which should be an actual ask for a change to the zoning bylaw of the B zoning. And then he's asking for the minor variance, 5 variance on one property, 5 variance on the other. That is not minor in my opinion. We have had applications in 1990 for 14 Lister Avenue for a variance, for variances for land severance, 49 Springside in 2010, 11 Springside, and they have been denied. I realize we want intensification and so on, but I don't understand why the recent owner who purchased in 2020 and the house has remained vacant since, he couldn't abide by what the neighborhood is, because once he starts and they sever that property, it only erodes our entire neighborhood for so many other applications to be allowed. In my opinion, please do not allow this, because 1, it's not minor. 2, he wants a consent to sever. It doesn't come up to that in a layperson's thing until partly down in the paper. I find that deceitful. I'm very sorry, but I do. And please don't allow this. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will hear from Andy Ritter next.
Star 6. Is it you?
So again, if you are calling in by phone, you'll just have to press star 6 or star 9 to unmute yourself.
Star 6 or star 9?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Andy Ritter. I live right beside the property in question at 9 Bartlett Avenue. Sorry. I'm thinking what you're asking for is not considered minor at all. They're basically severing it and doing variations on all the surrounding, the front, the side, the rear. And I'm thinking it'll have a big effect with a 2-story house right beside my ranch house, that it's going to affect, the light clearance from the property line and everything else. So I would request that you say no to this thing, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And that was the last of the interested parties. I have Mel with a question or comment.
Yes, I visited the property and see that the setbacks is 7 meters, need 12 meters. It's not going to be back anywhere near what the rest of the street is. And also on the south side, there's a low area, which was probably a wetlands area beside it. So that part of that's going to be unusable to build on. So my opinion that there's not enough room there for 2 lots. So I'm not really in favor of the severance of this property.
Could I ask planning department to give us a brief description of the B district, of what is allowed and what is not allowed in that district or that zone?
Through the chair to the committee, so in the B district, it's suburban, agricultural, and residential uses that are allowed. So in this case, the resident is proposing a residential use, so single family dwellings, which conforms to the use of the zoning bylaw. And I just wanted to add that the height restriction for this area is 11 meters.
Question to that.
Okay.
Just question to that. B zoning, is there a specific lot size attached to that? I think my question was regarding the difference between a C and a B, whereby the B is a urban rural? No, something like that. Anyway, you could just verify the difference between the C and the B on lot size, minimum lot size.
So for the B district, the minimum lot area is 1,100 square meters.
Right.
But then, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's good. Okay, yeah, he said that, and that was clear. And for the C, is it different?
For the C, it is different.
Yeah, it is. Thought so.
Sorry, I don't have that up. Give me.
I think it's 30 by 90 or something, but.
Sorry, Nancy, is that in relation to the C7 zone that was shown on the sketch that was attached to the comments package as a neighboring property?
Let me look.
zoning?
It wasn't. It's just that most homes
okay,
on
sorry.
streets are C zoning residential, and usually that means no smaller than 30 feet, whichever meter, 6 point something meters or 7 point something meters. And then the B, I think because it was rural at some point, I understood those lots were to be minimally larger than in the C, and I just wanted to make sure there was a difference.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm just getting that for you.
It might speak to the concern of the neighbor saying that these were meant to be larger lots in this particular area.
So in the C district, the width is 12 meters, and then the area is 360 square meters. So they are much smaller. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
No problem. Sorry about that.
Don't. 1,100.
Huge difference.
Okay, was there any other questions from committee?
Seeing, or Mel, is that a question? I think yours is the only hand I see.
I move for denial.
Okay,
we have
so
a motion for denial. Do we have a seconder?
I see no seconder.
Seconder.
So the motion is defeated.
Motion for approval.
Okay, motion for approval, seconded by Bob. All in favor?
We're here.
Opposed?
I have 2 opposed.
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members.
Felt like I was in an airplane with Mr. Wellings. It sounded like, okay, right, this is your captain. It's a great PA system. I loved it.
I think I just want to let people know, Jamila and Dale and the rest of the committee, I think I'm going to have to leave the meeting. I have COVID.
Oh.
Oh dear, you just found
It's getting
out?
too much for me.
Okay.
I thought I'd be able to get through the entire session, but I think not. So I'll see you next time.
You look pretty healthy to me.
Get well, Margaret.
The beauty of makeup.
Take it easy. Take a rest.
Feel better than him.
Well, thank you for letting us know. All right, and we are all set for the next file. So we are hearing SCA 2276 for 91 Centennial Parkway in Stoney Creek. We have the owner registered to speak and one interested party.
Hello?
Okay, is the owner available?
Hello? I'm here.
Yep. Did you have a
Hello?
chance to read the? Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, hi.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, and I understand that the staff is not supporting it, so I'd like to table it.
Okay.
Motion to table.
Mark, seconder.
Seconder.
You can get one, Jamila? Okay. All in favor for table? Opposed?
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application tabled.
And for the interest of the interested party, the application was tabled and not heard today, so it will be rescheduled and a new notice will be circulated at such time as a new date is set.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
And we are all set for the next files. Yep, we're hearing HMB 2216, 20, sorry, just a moment. Sorry about that. So we're hearing HMB 2216 and HMA 2252 for 23 West Park Avenue in Hamilton. We have the agents registered to speak and one interested party.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did. And may I just say my name is Stuart Hastings. I'm a registered professional planner with GSP Group, and I have had an opportunity to review the comments. And I recognize that staff is in support of the severance, and that staff is in support of 4 of the 5 minor variances. The minor variance that staff did not support at that time requires some explanation. So if I may just take a minute just to explain.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. The minor variance requested was originally for a reduced parking space. The intention as a part of the severance is to move a parking space to the front of the existing dwelling. The width of the required parking space, 2.7 by 5 meters, can be accommodated. However, the full length of 6 meters could be not. So the original application was for a reduced parking space of 4.5. In conversations with the zoning examiner, I found out there's no such thing as a reduced parking space. From a zoning point of view, there is one or there isn't one. So the variance is worded as 0 parking. However, the intention is to put a space in front of the house. And so I had an opportunity to speak with the planner, and we proposed to introduce a condition that the applicant enter into a residential boulevard parking agreement with the city so that they could accommodate the parking space in front of the house. 4.5 meters of the length would be able to be accommodated in front, and then the 1.5 meters would be on West Park Ave within the boulevard. There is a generous city property as part of the boulevard, so the parking space would be able to be accommodated in that area. I could share my screen if you would like me to, but if you can refer to the severance sketch, I believe you can see there is space in front of the house for residential parking. Speaking to the requirement of the 1 space, that would conform to the new standard in 05200, where 1 space is only required for a single detached dwelling outside of the downtown, and also it recognizes that we're in walking distance to McMaster University. We're also in very close walking distance to a bus stop at West Park Ave and Main Street West, which has the B line and other transit options, and we're also within walking distance of the future LRT, which is the terminus of which is proposed in front of McMaster, as you know, within a 14-minute walking distance. So I would like to introduce that condition, and I'll let planning staff speak for themselves, but I understand that they do support the variance with the inclusion of that condition. And I would like to just address one other point. I do recognize there is a resident who raised two issues, one being the parking, which I've just spoke to, and the other one being the lotting configuration. I believe I spoke to the parking issue. With regard to the lotting configuration, 23 West Park was previously expanded. As shown in my brief, the severance is essentially returning to the lot to the way that existed prior to 2013. At 2013, the King Street right-of-way, half of it was closed down and became unassumed, and part of the city lands were merged with 23 West Park. So it's these surplus, if you will, lands that are being severed now. So the lot that is being created, or retained rather, is actually being returned to the exact same configuration that it existed for 60 years, which is from the survey was in 1950 to 2013. So in terms of the lot configuration, in my opinion and in staff's opinion, the proposed lot is in keeping with the neighborhood as it existed that way for 60 years prior to 2013. I don't think you can do much better than that in terms of neighborhood suitability. And so with that, my final point is for condition number 10 for the archaeological assessment, I would kindly request, in keeping with the committee's practice, if we could remove this condition for the archaeological assessment and just replace it with the standard archaeological note. And with that in mind, I'd be happy to take any questions from the committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. There is one citizen.
Yes, that is correct. So we will hear from Rose Lukowis next.
Good afternoon. I am opposed to especially the variance regarding the parking. I did note, and I will do it again, make some comments about the background of our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is located in Ainsleewood North, which is located close proximity to McMaster. It's the first street off of Main Street, and we have numerous students. We have many rental properties, whether they're for student rentals or rentals that are for other residents who are working in the area or outside the area. These homes house numerous tenants. They're not single-family dwellings. And one such house directly across the street has a minimum of 12 bedrooms. And you can imagine how many cars there are. And due to popular believes, as Mr. Hastings just said, that because of proximity due to the university and to public transportation, that there aren't that many cars. Well, there are. I've lived in this neighborhood for over 30 years, and there are plenty of cars. And if you were to come to my street, you would see that the majority of the driveways have parking for 4 cars, and there's still lots of on-street parking. And not only is that a problem with our on-street parking at the moment, but just around the corner from us will be built a 9-story condominium complex with 154 units, and 22 units of those will be townhouses that will be back onto Sanders Boulevard, which is where this house is located at the end of West Park and Sanders Boulevard. And the entrance and exit to this complex is to be put on West Park, which means not only will we will have increased parking, increased traffic, we will also have increased parking. And right now, our corridor is used for McMaster University. We are the bike route, or we're the first street that comes off of Main Street that is the bike route that follows Sanders right to McMaster University, where they cross at Coots to the west end of the university. So I have a major concern with the parking issue and about the variance for the number 4 variance required. Currently, the house that I can personally see has 3 cars, maybe more. They do have, because the property or the parking is on the separate part of the the parking driveway is on the proposed severed part. They would have to make, as it was mentioned, in the front, but that would only allow for 1 parking spot. That is not enough with our current problem. Our current problem also is that our parking bylaws are only enforced on a complaint basis. We are continually calling regarding the cars being parked for well over 12 hours, more like weeks on end, and with enforcement being when we call, we get it, and as soon as we, if we don't keep on it, it just, they're happy to have tickets because it's a lot less money than to pay either the landlord who's charging them for parking or for the parking ticket or to get a permit, which still only allows them 12 hours. So that's my concern. I also have a concern about the having the property severed. As it was mentioned, that it was the original lot size built 60 years ago, but upon myself and my husband going out to measure the lot sizes on our whole block, on our street, on West Park, the average frontage is 60 feet or 16 meters wide. If it's severed, that would only allow it to be 40 feet or 12 meters wide. That's a third of the size of what it is. So in my opinion, it is not holding up to what is determined, where it says that it should be consistent with the neighborhood, because it is not consistent with the neighborhood, that smaller lot. As for the setback, all the other homes on that street, with the exception of 23 West Park, are set back. So by a good, I can't remember, 4 or 5 meters. So that is not consistent when the rest of them are all set back and this one juts forward. And if another home was to be built, it will then too be not consistent with what is in the neighborhood. If that frontage is allowed, that setback is allowed. And in also keeping with some more research I have done, I have looked at Ainsley Wood Westdale secondary planning, and it says that I'm just paraphrasing now, that any property that is to be severed. No, I should not paraphrase. Let me see if I can read what it says. Okay. Said, upon further investigation into Ainsley Wood Westdale secondary plan policies, if the property is allowed to be severed, the parcel of severed land being green space could fall under 6.4.2 Parks and Open Space Policy 6, which reads, the provision of additional parks and open space area will be encouraged should opportunities arise in the future. Such additional parks will be especially encouraged within the western portion of Ainsley Wood Westdale community. Consideration of such additional parkland will be subject to the availability of city funds and the overall need for parkland as identified in city policies such as the City of Hamilton official plan. We do not have any green space in Ainsley Wood North. We do not have a park. We have nothing. This land that is to be severed, and there is a lot beside it that is also owned by the city, is green space currently, with the exception of the 23 West Park does have a fenced-in area. My opinion, if this land is to be severed, then we certainly need and have the desire and the right to have green space. And then therefore the city should be purchasing this property giving us the green space which we are allowed to have according to the secondary plan and according to the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, which of 2020, which says the same thing. It also was noted by the agent that Ainsley Wood North has schools and parkland. Well, I've just said we don't have parkland, and we do not have a school either. Not only does Ainsley Wood North not have a school, Ainsley Wood, period, does not have a public elementary school. So, and our children are bused to Westdale, which is a minimum 3 kilometers away for school. So I feel that the land in question or the agent has misrepresented what we actually do have in our community.
Okay, thank you. Was there any other speakers, Camilla?
No, there were no other interested parties.
Committee, have any questions? Motions?
I have Nancy. Sorry, Nancy, you're just muted.
Again? That's because Dale tells me not to talk so much. Yeah, a motion for approval with archaeological note and the condition on obtaining a boulevard parking agreement for that parking space.
Okay, can I just clarify? So the parking, typically there's 2 applications right now. So typically a boulevard parking agreement would be a condition of the minor variance. Is that your motion, or did you want it as a condition of the consent?
The second part.
The minor variance, okay.
Yes.
And there was also a request in the comments package from TransCanada Pipelines. I'm not sure if the committee members saw that, if they wanted to include that condition or not include that condition.
Hang on here. Let us find that. Somebody show me where it is.
It probably should be, Nancy.
So I believe their concerns were with the distance from the new dwelling on the new lot to the existing TransCanada pipeline.
Okay.
And I believe their suggested condition was that the owner or agent receive clearance from the TransCanada pipeline that an agreement is not required, or that an agreement has been registered against title to their satisfaction. I believe that was somewhat.
Okay, and Stuart, do you have a comment on that?
I think we'd prefer not to have that condition, given there's a number of residents already on the west side of West Park Ave. It's not confirmed in their comments if we're within the 30 meters. It just says, should the new lot be located within 30 meters? It does not say that we are, so it doesn't, from my reading, it didn't specify whether we were.
I'm reading. This is a big document. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm just reading the third paragraph of the report. Should the new lot be located within their easement right of way, and I don't think it's identified. So since they haven't identified if we're within the 30 meters of their right of way, it's hard for me to comment. But
I think you should be very careful. You should probably have that in there, because if you get building up there and all of a sudden you find you're in the wrong spot and they deny it, you gotta should check first. So I think that should be in there.
No, I think it's the other way around, Mel. If you have to get a hold of someone from them, it could take you years and years before they'll even answer your letter, let alone do anything.
That's a point. Okay, so can we say, wait a minute, they got the word not in italic or in the bold print there.
Why not?
The new lot
is within 30 meters. So that can be found out sooner than getting them to agree to some type of documentation, and they go through all of their lawyers, etc., and it never gets done.
Okay, so how can we fix that?
Yeah.
I'd say to, if required, get the consent of the Canada Transit pipeline if you're within 30 meters of. And then there's probably a way to find out that it's not 30 meters, and then you don't have to do it.
Thank you, and through the chair, I think that it's logical to add the if required. If it suits the committee to add the condition, I would prefer to have the if required.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Do you have that now, then?
I believe so. So
required
that the owner or agent shall receive clearance from TransCanada Pipeline, that an agreement is not required, or that an agreement has been registered against title to their satisfaction if required.
If within the 30 meters.
Yeah.
So if they can show it's 40 meters away, you don't even have to get it.
Right.
Okay. If
it's just to get a letter would be impossible.
So not if required, but if within 30 meters?
Yes, within 30 meters, then they have to comply with the regulations.
Okay, so Nancy, to clarify your motion then, so your motion for the consent is for approval with condition 10 changed to a note and an added condition with regards to TransCanada Pipeline. And your motion for the minor variance is for approval with a condition for a boulevard parking agreement.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor of that motion? Did we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none. Motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Okay, and we're all set for the next file. We're hearing HMB 2220 for 128 and 130 Cannon Street West. We have the agent registered to speak as well as the owner and no interested parties.
Hey, is the agent available?
Hello?
Yes. This is Cannon Street.
Pardon?
Cannon Street.
I'm not getting you. What did you say?
Is this the agent for Cannon?
Yes, I'm the agent. I actually filled out the form for a friend of mine.
Yep. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any questions? Would you like to table it? I mean, the comments are recommending denial.
Only in the what do you call it? In one part of the form here, like in comments, but I look at the consolidation report, right? And they say if this is approved, we have to do 11 items, number 1 through 11. And basically, we're prepared. There's nothing there that's rocket science. That we'd be prepared to do those on the conditions of getting a severance. In fact, one of the items, which I really, I'm not too familiar with, is item number 3 of that report, the consolidated. It says the owner submits to the Committee of Adjustment Office an administration fee payable to the City of Hamilton to cover the cost of setting up a new tax account for each newly created lot. See that?
Yes. Yes.
I looked at the tax bills already for my friend, and that already, there is 2 separate tax bills for each one of these properties already. So I don't know if the city already considers them separate entities already or separate entities.
So the city of Hamilton is not the ones who regulate whether or not a property is one property or two properties. That would be through the land registry office. So you applied to sever the lands into two pieces. So it is assumed that you had verified that they are in fact one property currently. So they may have two tax accounts for it. And if that's the case, the fee would be waived to set up the new account because there would currently be a separate account for that, but that review isn't clear at the time of submission.
Well, I'm looking at the area, like I'm not a planner or a lawyer or anything like that, but just going around the area and looking at other properties that are basically semis or row houses, they all fall upon basically area-wise and size. They're basically all the same. And this is why, you know, we went through and put an application for the severance, feeling it was no difference than any of the other properties in the area. And looking at the consolidation report, look at the requesting number 1 to 11. If you grant a severance based on those conditions, we're willing to fulfill them.
But did you also read the comment from the West Harbor secondary plan?
Well, like I say, I'm not a planner or a lawyer.
Yes.
Which page would that be?
So that was on page 3 of 5.
I see at the very end of that, yeah, it says, in conclusion, staff recommends that application be denied.
Yes.
In regards to that one item, Planning and Economic Development Department, right?
Well, I believe it's because they feel that the consent application is premature because of the zoning of the property.
And by meaning premature, that means it should be done at later.
So I think they're recommending that possibly a zoning bylaw amendment should be applied for first before this application. Okay, Mal, you have a question?
Yeah, there's so much confusion here between you and what it's recommended denial. I'm going to recommend that you table it and come back and get all these things straightened out before you bring it back. In case we deny it, then you're in trouble. So I'd say table it. I'll move to table it.
Okay, we have a motion for table. Do I have a seconder? Bob?
Bob? Okay.
All in favor for table?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application tabled. If you can just briefly tell the applicant situation.
Yep, so to the agent, the application was tabled today to allow you time to clarify the comments that were received from the planning section. So if you contact them, if you want a specific name, you can contact the COFA@hamilton.ca email account, and we can put you in contact with the person who provided those comments, and you can have time to review the comments package and determine if you wish to proceed with the application, or if you wish to amend it, or if you just wish to bring it back to the committee members at a future time.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll get a hold of the COFA and talk about this item here and see, like you said, it's premature unless we get some kind of zoning change to go through with the to see if that will be permitted.
You can have further discussions with staff about your application. That's correct.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you very much.
We're all set for the next file. We're hearing HMA 2292 for 230 Bendemeer Avenue in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Is the agent available?
Right here, Jenny Wagner. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Did you have a chance to read the comments posted?
Sure did. Yep, we read it, and the homeowner actually talked with the one neighbor that had written in with a few concerns, and I feel they've put their minds at ease a little bit that they shouldn't be too much disruption during construction, and we're happy with staff comments of support.
Okay,
awesome. Move it.
Move it.
Second. I moved it first.
Nancy, then Laverne.
I'll be fifth.
Laverne and I are on twin mics today. It's awesome.
All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Yes.
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, we did have a break scheduled at this time. I do also note that the first application right after the break is also for the agent, Jenny Bogner. So I'm not sure if the committee members want to have a break now, if they want to have a break later, if they don't want to have a break at all.
Let's hear Jenny.
Let's hear Jenny, and then we'll decide.
Let her have a break.
And then we have something to look forward to see Jenny again when we come back.
It's sweet.
All right, so we'll hear HMA 2281 for 51 Bond Street North in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Yes, Jenny, did you have a chance to read the comments posted on this one?
Yes, we did. And very happy with all the support on this one as well. And yeah, if there's any questions, happy to answer.
I'll move it.
Val, seconder.
Have Laverne.
Laverne, all in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried, application approved.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good break.
Thanks, Jenny.
Okay, bye.
And did the committee members want to decide on a break or no break or 5 minutes?
Is 5 minutes enough break or not?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
5 minutes.
Okay, so we will
3:30.
come back at 3:30. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Chair, I think it is 3:30. Sorry, you're just muted.
Sorry. Have we got everybody back? I don't see Bob. I don't see Dave.
Yeah, and I don't think Mark is back just yet either.
Margaret, I think she's gone.
Margaret's gone. That's correct. Yeah. So there is
There's Bob coming back.
Oh, there's Bob. Okay. So if Bob is back, then we definitely have quorum.
I'm here.
Okay,
Mark's
perfect.
here. Okay,
Well,
go ahead and call. Yep.
all right, so we are hearing HMA 2282 for 101 Weir Street South in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
I am.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did. It appears planning staff's in favor. I have no questions or anything to add.
Okay, committee have any questions? Motion?
I have two, but I think they're both muted, so I don't.
Me.
Okay.
Move it.
Bob moved it. Do I have a seconder?
Nancy.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thanks, everyone.
Notice this letter comes in on a lot of these applications.
Oh yeah.
For sport utility vehicles.
Yeah.
SUVs.
All right. We're all
Smile about.
That's good. We are all set for HMA 2284 for 112 St. Joseph's Drive in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
The agent available?
Yes.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, city staff. My name is Mark Denardis. I'm a planner from GWD Planners. We are the agent for the registered owners of 112 St. Joseph Drive. We've had an opportunity to look at the staff report, excuse me, and find the conditions acceptable, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, committee have any questions?
Move it.
Move it.
I think we have Mel, then Mark.
Yeah, that's what I had.
All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
Okay, and we are hearing HMA 2285 for 399 Kenora Avenue in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Is the agent available?
Yep, Christian Arias here of Zoltan Engineering on behalf of the owner. I had a chance to read the comments, just here if you guys have any questions.
Okay, committee.
Good, move it.
Okay, move seconder.
Second.
Mel?
Mel, all in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none.
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, and we're all set for the next file. So we're hearing HMA 2287 for 173 Craig Wyston Road in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
The agent available? See them listed, Camila?
No, I don't currently see them on the call.
You want to stand it down to the end?
Sure, yep, we can do that. We'll hold off.
Okay.
I'll make a note. So we are now hearing HMA 2289 for 37 Paradise Road South in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Good afternoon, committee members. This is Ryan Ferrari. I work for AJ Clark & Associates, and I'm the agent on behalf of the applicant.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have read the comments, certainly supportive of the staff recommendation to approve. However, given that SDUs, as I understand, are a hot topic today, I'm certainly here to answer any questions of the committee or any questions about the variances we're seeking. In my opinion, they're very technical in nature, but I'm certainly happy to go through them if the committee wishes. So thank you.
What I'm concerned about is the 0.0 meters need 1.2 meters in the side yard.
Certainly, so I can speak to that. That's no problem. Jamil, if you don't mind, can I quickly share my screen here?
There's the gentleman from the previous application.
So committee members, can you see my screen?
Yes.
And the survey that I'm showing? Okay. So with respect to that 1.2 meter setback that we are going down to 0, just so the committee's aware, that setback is located approximately right here. What I'm showing you right now is a survey of the property showing the existing conditions. So there is a garage on the property and it sits in the exact same spot where we're proposing to replace it with the SDU. Now, with that being said, that variance we're seeking does not represent the whole length of the SDU. It just represents the garage portion. So what I'll do right now quickly is just switch to
this picture.
Switch to the concept plan that the committee should see in front of them right now. Mm-hmm. So as this area we just spoke about is this 1.2 meters adjacent to the garage. So we made the 1.2 meters for the principal portion of the SDU. However, to fit the required parking space, we have to jut the garage out. But I think the committee will see in the engineering comments, they're happy with this just because the garage is effectively being replaced like for like, and we meet the required swale on the other side and rear yards. Last quick point I'll make is that there is a very substantial boulevard here between the sidewalks. So given all those issues, in my opinion, the variance is appropriate in this case. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I just want clarification on that. Thanks.
Okay, are there any other questions from the committee?
Looks good to me. I'll move it.
Okay, seconder?
I'll second it.
No? All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Sorry, I have one opposed.
Okay, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you, everyone.
Right, and Mr. Chairman, the agent for the previous file is on the call now. Did you want to go back to that item or? Okay.
Yes, yep, we will.
All right, so we will now hear HMA 2287 for 173 Craig Royston Road in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, committee?
Looks good. I'll move it.
Okay, seconder?
I have Bob.
Bob? All in favor?
Here.
Opposed?
Seeing none.
Thank you.
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next item is HMA 21385 for 478 John Street North in Hamilton. We have the owner registered to speak and two interested parties.
Okay, is the owner available?
Yes.
Yes. Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
And do you have any questions?
No, I agree with the city's comments.
Okay, there's two citizens.
Yep, so we will hear from Geraldine Lucas first. So I believe they have called in, so if you can just unmute yourself by pressing *6 or *9.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Do you have a question
Hi,
on this
Geraldine
application?
Lucas?
Yes.
Yes. Me and my partner live at 480 John Street North, and we're the two callers, the two people with concerns. We're both on the phone here, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we have a couple of concerns with the house being built. Bill, do you want to let them know?
Well, the one concern that I have is nobody actually knows where property lines are. And I know Ryan had a plot plan of the house, which I do believe shows the property line closer than what it is now, where the fence line is, where it was surveyed. I have a concern about that. The other concern that I do have is their back patio, which is concrete, is higher than our property. So any additional water coming off that house, I'm worried about it coming onto my backyard and going into my basement because I do have water issues there already.
I paid for a survey, legally binding survey. So the plot lines that I'm showing, the lot lines I'm showing on my site sketch are legally binding and accurate. And in addition, the secondary dwelling unit is proposed. How do I describe this? It's past the backyard of 480 John. With regards to the water, the same thing. The discharge of the water from the secondary dwelling unit will go into these landscaped areas, and will be. And I'm sure there'll be a swale around the properties or around the secondary dwelling unit as well. Again, the secondary dwelling unit is 14.8 meters away from my principal dwelling, and it's about 14 or 13.5 meters from 480 John Street, so it's quite a ways away. And in terms of the concrete backyard, all of that is existing conditions, and I don't have anything more to say.
Okay, we have questions from the committee members. I have David wishing to speak. You're just muted, David.
Yeah, I'm okay with the extra 6 square meters. It seems to be very minor in nature, and I believe that given the area, the front yard parking, to me, it's good. 25% to 33% is almost 50, and I think that's good for me. And I'd make a motion for approval when ready.
Okay, are there any more questions?
I have Nancy.
I do have a question just regarding the 75 to 81 square meters. It looks like it could have been contained within the 75 square meters. Do you know what the total square footage of that is? Is it exactly 81? I mean, in feet, I guess. Yeah, square meters, yeah. So it does come to 81, right?
Yeah, what I'm proposing is 81 square meters minus the utilities room, which is 10 square meters, which is deducted. So it'd be 91 square meters, including utilities. But if you look at the definition of gross floor area, you are allowed a sort of free 10 square meters for utilities, mechanical.
Okay, so it's still 81 without the utility, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's no basement in this unit, correct? No. Is the patio already constructed? Is it already there?
No, it's all proposed.
I thought I heard your neighbor say that there's a concrete patio there.
There is behind the existing dwelling.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, I'll accept the motion from David. Is there a second?
Seconded. I second.
Okay, Mark. All in favor of the motion? Opposed?
Sorry, so I think I missed a few people voting. Could
voted against. All in favor? Opposed?
And sorry, Laverne, I'm not able to see your
I'm in
hand.
favor.
You're in favor? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so none opposed then.
Okay, motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Right, and we're all set for the next file. So we are hearing HMA 2290 for 28 Arthur Street North in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, sir. I have no objections to the comments.
Okay. Committee have any questions?
What about the front yard 1.5 instead of 6?
That's a little short.
It's
Front
an
yard,
existing.
It's 1.5 meters instead of needing 6 meters.
Well, it's an existing situation. There's no further encroachment into the front yard than the existing house there.
Okay.
Here you look at the picture, you'll see that. That's Arthur Street.
okay,
Everything's right up to the front, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I just wanted to bring that up because we're talking about all them things today.
Mark, that was a motion?
Yes, correct.
Second.
Bob seconded. All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we're all set for the next file. We're hearing HMA 2291 for 1141 Main Street East in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Yes, I am.
Did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes, I did.
And do you have any questions?
No.
Committee, any questions?
Move it.
Motion by Mel to move. Seconder?
I have Bob.
All in favor?
Here, here.
Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you.
And we're now hearing HMA 2295 for 275 to 319 Sherman Avenue North in Hamilton. We have the agent registered to speak and, sorry, no other interested parties.
Okay, is the agent available?
Jared Marcus here from IBI Group.
Yes, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
I did, yes. No concerns.
No questions, okay. Committee?
Move it.
Okay.
Second.
Bob? All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried, application approved.
Thank you for your time.
And we're now hearing DNA 2283 for 44 Head Street in Dundas. We have the agent registered to speak and no other interested parties.
The agent available?
Yes, I'm here. I'm Yayasin for Vicano Developments Limited here for B-Man Holdings, Inc.
Yep, did you have a chance to read the comments that were posted?
Yes.
And do you have any questions?
Just to clarify, so the city doesn't recognize partial parking spaces within the boulevard as part of the parking count?
Sorry, is that a question to staff or to the committee members?
To staff, please, sorry.
Oh, I don't believe I see planning staff on the call at the moment. I do believe they had, staff had previously commented on this earlier in the agenda, and it was noted that if it's not completely contained within the property, then it would be not considered a parking spot.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to confirm. That's fine. We have enough parking on site.
Okay. Committee have any questions?
Move it.
Seconder?
Second.
Nancy? All in favor? Opposed?
Seeing none?
Seeing none, motion carried. Application approved.
Thank you.
We gotta make a motion about not being on site and in the council. I make a motion not to council chambers. Jamila, do we gotta make a motion to stay on Zoom meetings?
So I believe that the motion was to adjourn unless you wanted to have a business meeting.
That's right.
Didn't
An
you suggest
official.
we had a motion to stay on?
Not during the meeting.
Not during the meeting? Okay.
Okay.
I thought it had to be during the meeting.
Okay.
Sorry. So, I think you're referring to the information that I had submitted to the committee members before the hearing about the request from the Emergency Economic Committee requesting that all public meetings and meetings of council and committees, I believe I've covered everything, that those not be held until later on. They're currently recommending not until after May, the end of May. So if the committee members could make a motion just to defer our current plan to have May 26th as the first in-person until such time that the EOC has determined that it is safe to do so.
Shall move.
Okay, thank you.
Seconder?
Second.
Bob?
Thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carried. Application approved. Vote.
Motion approved, yes. Yes, I'm very sorry about that, committee members. It was in the meantime between our last hearing and this hearing that they submitted that information to us. So thank you very much for your understanding with regards to this.
Okay, do you need a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Yes, please. That would be great. Thank you.
Someone?
I've got Mel.
Okay.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, committee members.